I'm going to illustrate, with the help of WaveLab 9 Pro, the frequency spectrum of music and where the power demands are. There's a common misconception that the last octave or so requires enormous amounts of acoustic power liberated into the room. But if you look at the metering from WaveLab Pro 9, you will see that this is actually not so, and that the bulk of the power is between about 80 Hertz and 700 to 800 Hertz, with probably peak powers in the 500 to 600 Hertz range, and falling off relatively quickly at 1.5K and especially above 2.5K. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is that speakers have to have baffle step compensation as a rule, and this is the transition between the speaker being a directional radiator and an omnidirectional one. This is determined by the width of the baffle, and the narrower the baffle, the higher the transition frequency to omnidirectional radiation. The effect of this is to appear to make the speaker over bright. It's actually a loss of bass, since as the transition progresses, the speaker radiates 360 rather than 180 or less. So this has to be compensated for by a boost of the bass through the crossover, although a passive crossover cannot do this, and so what it amounts to is a shelving of the HF to bring things into balance. This, of course, contributes greatly to the increased power demands below the transition frequency. And for a typical speaker, both bookshelf and tower, this is going to occur somewhere between 600 and 700 Hertz, and a 6 dB boost is required, which increases demands on the amplifier and driver. For very small speakers, this transition starts up as high as 1000 Hertz, and is another reason why smaller speakers struggle so much to fill a room and tend to sound thin, as they don't usually have sufficient power handling capacity to demand all of the compensation required for the baffle step compensation. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and take a look at a symphonic production. It's the finale of the Saint Seans organ symphony, and it's from the Royal Albert Hall, and the organ is the large Willis organ, often known as the voice of Jupiter, and certainly has 32-foot stops which take it well into sub-range. Despite this, you will see that most of the power demands throughout most of the work are well out of subwoofer range. So I'm going to illustrate this as best I can.